Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. I would like to read a poem by Mahmoud Darwish, translated by Rema, Hammami, and John Berger from this Verso book titled Mural. There is a word in here, Jahili Mu'alakaat, or two words, which mean pre-Islamic hanging poems. These were the 7 greatest poems of the pre-Islamic era that, according to later medieval literary lore, were given the honor of being hung from the walls of the Kaaba in Mecca. So the poem is titled The Dice Player. Who am I to say to you what I'm saying? I wasn't a stone washed by water, so I became a face. I wasn't a reed pierced by the wind, so I became a flute. I'm the way the dice fall, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. I'm like you, or maybe slightly less. I was born beside the well, where 3 single trees stood like nuns. I was born without ceremony or a midwife, and belonged to a family by chance, inheriting its features, idiosyncrasies, and illnesses. First, feeble arteries and high blood pressure. Second, shyness in talking with mother, father, grandmother, or a tree. Third, the belief that flu can be cured with a hot cup of chamomile. Fourth, a disinclination to talk about gazelles or skylarks. Fifth, a tendency to boredom on winter nights. Sixth, a farcical inability to sing. I had no say in who I was. It was by chance I turned out male, by chance that I found the upturned moon, pale as a lemon, urging on the night, and just as easily could find a mole hidden in the deepest recess of my groin. It's possible I might not have been, and my father might not have been. Then he wouldn't have married my mother. By chance, I might have been like my sister, who screamed, then died, and never knew it, because she lived for an hour and didn't know her mother. Or one could say, like a pigeon's egg, which breaks before the chick can hatch from its shell. I happened by chance, me, the survivor of the bus accident, because I was late going to school, forgetting the here and now while reading a love story at night, losing myself in storyteller and victim of love, till I became a martyr of passion in the story and the survivor of the bus accident. I can't see myself joking with the sea, but I am a reckless kid. One of my hobbies is to dawdle in the waves when they're singing, "Come to me." And I can't see myself being rescued from the sea. I was saved by a sort of seagull who saw the playful waves paralyzing my hand. It's possible I wouldn't have been struck with the madness of the Jahili Mu'alakaat if the door of the house had faced north and not overlooked the sea, if the army patrol hadn't seen the fire of the villagers making bread that night, if 15 martyrs had been able to rebuild the barricades, if that rural place hadn't been obliterated, perhaps I'd have become an olive tree, or a geography teacher, or an expert in the realm of ants, or guardian of an echo. Who am I to say to you what I'm saying? At the door of the church, I'm nothing but the fall of the dice, landing between predator and prey, winning a clarity that obscures my happiness on moonlit nights and obliges me to witness the carnage. It was by chance I escaped. I was smaller than a military target and larger than a bee hovering between the flowers on the fence. I feared a lot for my brothers and father, feared for time made of glass, feared for my cat and my rabbit, feared for the magical moon above the high minaret of the mosque, feared for the grapes on the vine dangling like the teats of our dog. Fear walked in me and I walked in it, barefoot, forgetting my little memories or what I want from tomorrow. There's no time for tomorrow. I walk, scramble, run, climb, get down, scream, bark, howl, call out, wail, speed up, slow down, love, become lighter, drier, march on, fly, see, don't see, stumble, become yellow, green, blue, gasp, sob, thirst, get tired, struggle, fall, get up, run, forget, see, don't see, remember, hear, look, wonder, hallucinate, mumble, yell I can't, moan, go mad, stay, become less and more, fall, rise, collapse, bleed, and faint. And by chance, with my lack of luck, the wolves disappeared from there, or we escaped the soldiers. I have no say in my life, except that I am. When life taught me its hymns, I said, "Do you have more?" So I lit its lantern, and it tried to oblige. I might not have been a swallow if the wind had wanted it that way. The wind is the luck of the traveler. I went north, east, and west, but the south was far and impenetrable to me because the south is my home. So I became a metaphor of a swallow soaring above my debris in spring and autumn, trying out my feathers in the clouds above the lake, scattering my greetings on my protector, who does not die because he has God's soul, and God is the luck of the prophet. Luckily, I live next to the divinities. Unluckily, the cross is the only ladder to our tomorrow. Who am I to say to you what I'm saying? Who am I? It's possible inspiration might not have come. Inspiration is the luck of the loner. This poem is a dice throw onto a board of darkness that glows and doesn't glow. Words fall like feathers on sand. I don't think it was me who wrote the poem. I just obeyed its rhythm. The flow of feelings, each affecting the next, meaning given by intuition, a trance in the echoing words, the image of myself taken from me and given to another with no one to help me, and my longing for the source. I don't think it was me who wrote the poem, except when inspiration stopped, and inspiration is the luck of the skillful when they apply themselves. The only possibility was to love the girl who asked me, "What time is it?" on my way to the cinema. And it was only possible for her to be a mulatta, which she was, or a passing mystery and a darkness. It's like this, the words multiply. I induce my heart to love, so it has room for flowers and thorns. My vocabulary is mystic and my desires corporeal. And I'm not who I am now unless there's a meeting of two, me and my feminine self. Love, what are you? How much are you? You and not you. Love, rage like a tempest over us, so we can find only what the divinities want of my body and pour away the rest in a funnel. You, whether displayed or hidden, have no shape, and we love you when we love by chance. You're the luck of the poor. Unfortunately, I often escaped love's closure, but fortunately stayed fit enough to reopen its door. Secretly, the canny lover says to himself, love is our truthful lie. Overhearing him, his beloved replies, love comes and goes, like lightning and thunder. To life I say, slow down, wait for me until intoxication has dried out in my glass. In the garden, all the flowers are ours, and the wind can't unwind itself from the rose. Wait for me so the nightingales don't flee the town square and make me break the rhythm while the minstrels tighten their strings for the goodbye song. Go slow for me and be brief so the song won't take long, lest my delivery interrupt the prelude and split it in two. Let two and two make one. Long live life. Take your time and take me in your arms so the wind doesn't scatter me. Even when I'm carried by the wind, I can't unwind myself from the alphabet. If I hadn't scaled the mountain, I might have been happy with an eagle's eyrie, nothing loftier, but such glory crowned with infinite blue gold is difficult to visit. Up there, the loner stays lonely and can't come down on his feet. So no eagle walks, no human flies. How much a peak resembles an abyss, you, O solitude of the summit, know it. I have no say in what I was or will be. It's luck, and luck has no name. We might name it the blacksmith of our fate, or the postman of the heavens, or the carpenter of the newborn's cradle and the dead man's coffin, or let's call it the legendary God's servant, whose lines we wrote while hiding behind Olympus, which the hungry potters believed, but the bloated lords of gold didn't, unluckily for their author. This ghost standing on the stage is real. Behind the scenes, it's something else. The question is no longer when, but why, how, and who. Who am I to say to you what I'm saying? It's possible not to have been. Suppose the convoy fell into an ambush, and suppose the family lost a son, like the one now writing this poem, letter by letter, bleeding and bleeding, on this sofa, blood black as black, not a crow's ink nor its caw. It's the whole night squeezed out by hand, drop by drop, by the hand of luck and talent. It's possible that poetry might have gained more if precisely this poet hadn't existed, a hoopoe at the edge of the abyss, though the poet might say, if I'd been another, I would become only me again. This is how I bluff. Narcissus wasn't as beautiful as he thought. His creators trapped him in his reflection. So I ripple the smooth image with droplets of water. Suppose he'd been able to see someone other than himself and could have seen the love of a girl gazing at him. Forget the stags running between the lilies and daisies. If he'd been just a fraction cleverer, he'd have smashed the mirror and seen how much he was like to others. Yet if he'd been free, he wouldn't have become a myth. In the desert, the mirage is the traveler's book, and without it, without the mirage, he won't continue searching for water. There's a cloud, he tells himself, carrying his jug of hope in one hand and clutching his belly with the other, and he thumbs his errors into the sand to corral the clouds into a pit, and the mirage calls him, lures, misleads him, then lifts him up. Read if you can't read, write if you can't write. So he reads, water, 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 and writes a sentence in the sand. Without the mirage, I wouldn't be alive till now. And it's the luck of the traveler that hope is the twin of despair, or else his improvised poetry when the sky is gray and I see a rose sprouting through the cracks in a wall. I don't say the sky is gray, but keep my eye on the rose and tell it it's quite a day. Just as at nightfall I say to my two friends, if there has to be a dream, let it be like us and simple. For example, after 2 days, the three of us will dine to fet our dream's premonition that after 2 days, not one of us will have been lost. So let's celebrate in the moon's sonata and make a toast to the lenience of death, who saw the three of us happy together and decided to look on the other way. I don't say, far away life is real with its imaginary places. I say, life here is possible. By chance, this land became holy. Its lakes, hills, and trees aren't replicas of those in paradise. It became holy because a prophet walked here, prayed on a rock that began to weep, and the mount fell down from fear of God, then passed out. And by chance, the slope of a field in this country becomes a museum of dust because too many soldiers from both sides die there, defending two leaders who, waiting in two silken tents for their spoils, give the order to charge. Soldiers die time and again without ever knowing who won. Meanwhile, the surviving storytellers say, if by chance the others had won, history's headlines could have been different. Oh, land, I love you green, green, an apple dancing in water and light, green, your night green, your dawn green. So plant me with the tenderness of a mother's hand in a handful of air. I am one of your seeds, green. That stanza has more than one poet, and it's possible it didn't have to be lyrical. Who am I to say to you what I'm saying? It would have been possible not to be who I am. It would have been possible not to be here. It would have been possible if the plane had crashed that morning with me on board. Luckily, I'm a late riser and missed the flight. It would have been possible never to have visited Cairo, Damascus, the Louvre, and other magical cities if I'd been walking slower, the rifle shot might have cut my shadow off from the watchful cypress. If I'd been walking faster, I might have been shattered to pieces by shrapnel and become a passing thought. It's possible if I'd dreamed more excessively, I might have lost my memory. Luckily, I sleep alone and listen carefully to my body and believe in my gift for discerning pain in time to call the doctor 10 minutes before dying. 10 minutes is enough for me to live by chance and to defy nothingness. Who am I to defy nothingness? Who am I? Who am I? Excuse me. I don't think I've had a poem in translation move me as that one did. Meaning a short poem. And I think it's because it's not just something of 20 lines. It's a good 12 pages or so. And the resonances here are so many. Of course, the obvious one is Wilfred Owen, who wrote about life under combat. And then every time I come across those lines about the green, I just remember those lines of Garcia Lorca, verde que te quiero, verde, verde viento, verdes ramas, el barco sobre la mar, el caballo en la montaña. I think that's how it goes. It's been decades since I've read that. And I hope that I got through this reading adequately. I did one take, and when I was listening through it, flubbed up, I tried to cut off and just continue with this time. My rubbing the eyes was more for allergies this morning. They're very irritated. So that is Mahmoud Darwish, his poem Mural, translated by Rema, Hammami, and John Berger. A very nice translation, I think. I am trying to go through some books of his, which I picked up because of the events occurring in Gaza, in Palestine. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.